I'm sure a lot of you hear a lot of negative things about becoming a truck driver, or maybe why you shouldn't be a truck driver. But in this video, I'm going to talk about solid reasons why you might consider becoming a new truck driver. The first thing to talk about, and it's kind of obvious, especially since we're going through this pandemic, but I'll say this, nothing is exactly recession proof, but being a truck driver is very, very close to that. Whenever the United States and even the world, whenever everything kind of shut down, the one thing that can really never shut down is the transportation of goods. And we're talking about food, we're talking about everything. I'm not sure of the exact statistic. I do know for a fact, though, that everything, or at least over 80% of everything, is transported on a truck. And that percentage might actually be higher, but I do know that that's the minimum. So, truck driving is pretty much a recession-proof career, and that's not to say that it's not going to slow down. That's not going to say that rates go up and down. Everything works on supply and demand here. But as far as professions that are close or maybe even recession-proof, well, truck driving is about as close as that gets. Now the next thing, and this is one thing that is certainly very appealing to me, being in the truck driving profession, is that you can give yourself a raise and you can progress through the ranks very, very quickly. If you were to choose a different profession, it may take years, maybe decades, to kind of move yourself along through the different routes and to get to the top of the food chain. But in truck driving, that can be accomplished very, very quickly, and especially if you have a level head on your shoulders, you're intelligent, you do your research, and you apply yourself, then you can move through the ranks very, very quickly. The most important is probably going to be that first year. That first year is going to be similar to the vast majority of people. You're going to be at some kind of mega carrier, hopefully not, hopefully more like a medium-sized mom and pop, making, okay money. It's not terrible money. There are companies that pay terribly, but for the most part, you're going to be making kind of okay money. The thing is that you can ramp that up very, very quickly. I don't recommend flying through the steps and becoming an owner-operator just as soon as possible, but that's not to say that you can't do it. It's being done out here every single day. So that's one of the things that's very, very appealing about the truck driving profession, is that you can essentially reach the top very, very quickly. And another thing it's really cool about being a truck driver, at least being an over-the-road truck driver, is that you get paid to see the country. Now, before I get roasted in the comments, let me tell you exactly what I mean by that. We're not out here, we're not tourists, okay? You're not getting paid to experience the country. You're getting paid to see the country, and that's a very, very big difference. Sure, I've seen many things like Mount Rushmore, the Statue of Liberty, but there's always a windshield in between those two things. Occasionally you get lucky and, maybe you get to park, you get to walk next to, I don't know, something, maybe a lake or a river, or, there's so many things to see in this. We have such a large nation here in the United States, and we've got, desert, we've got forest areas, we've got flat plain areas, mountains. We basically have almost everything. And to be able to see that, to be able to travel around, a country that's as big as ours is really, it's a blessing. And it's the first year, I can't even describe it to you. It flies by so quickly as long as you enjoy it. And to be able to see the United States is basically, it's indescribable. But don't get it twisted. We're not tourists. We're not out here getting to experience things. We're not getting to experience the different cultures from the Northeast to the Northwest to the South. But you do get to see it. So that's a pretty nice bonus. And I'd like to take a minute to thank the sponsor of this video, and that is going to be Trucker Tools. Trucker Tools is a wonderful company that's for the truck driver, and they're building a 100% free application, and it has so many different tools that apply to not just company drivers, but also owner-operators. So if you need to figure out how to move your tandems to scale your truck properly, or if you're looking for a book it now type of load on a load board, they've got you covered. So in the description down below, you can click that link and you can download that. I urge you to download it, play with it, see what it can do. There's so many different things. Like I said, check it out today, and yeah, thanks Trucker Tools. Now, one of the other things that is pleasant about truck driving is there are so many options. You know, for me personally, I enjoy being a little bit more physical. So I know that's a bit of an oxymoron, being a truck driver and liking a physical job, but that's why I chose to drive a step deck or an open platform like a flatbed. And I enjoy the physicality of getting out there and tying the loads down and tarping the loads. So because physical fitness has kind of been a part of my life pretty much the entirety, I enjoy that side of things. Now, if you want to make the most money that you can, but you don't necessarily want to work so hard, you can choose to pull a refrigerated trailer. Now, you're going to be doing a lot of multi-stop loads, and your appointments are going to be all hours of the night and day, but that's an option for you. Or you can, just run a dry van. You can be local, you can be regional, you can be over the road. The options are just vast. So one thing that truck driving provides is the ability to kind of change your profession without really changing your profession. You get tired of something, go drive for someone else or buy a different trailer. It's really that simple. And one of the things about truck driving that I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a great thing, but it's just reality. The reality is that truck drivers are retiring at a very fast rate, and they're not being replaced as quickly as they're retiring. So what this means on a simple supply and demand, that in the future there's going to be a higher demand for truck drivers, and I'm talking about more of the immediate future. There's a higher demand for truck drivers, which means it's going to pay more. And I've seen that even since I've started. When I started, which was in 2012, companies were advertising that they were paying between about 30 and 40 cents for new truck drivers. Well, now I'm seeing 50 cents plus being advertised. So there definitely has been an increase in the pay, and I look for that trend to continue. And the last thing about being a truck driver, and this is something that you're not going to quite understand until you actually get behind the wheel, and that is that the diesel gets in your veins. And what I mean by that is, if you become a truck driver and you enjoy it, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to do anything else, because the freedom of the open road, listening to those engines purr, the sound of the Jake brakes roaring, things like that, you're gonna miss if you get out of it. And I assure you, almost everybody that enjoys driving a truck that winds up leaving the profession almost always comes back. So the diesel will get in your veins. So if you're scared of being addicted to truck driving, maybe it's not the profession for you. But anyway, I appreciate you watching the video. Check out one of these videos right over here. I'm sure there's something that you might enjoy watching or learning about. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you know when the next videos are coming out. But as always, stay driven.